What are the most important principles for living you've learned? Some years ago, I asked myself this question. Since then, time and experience have provided answers and insights leading to the laws of spirit. These laws belong to each of us. They are found within our hearts and lie at the heart of every religion, culture, and moral system. One method I use to access these universal laws is to ask, if I met my higher self in the mountains, in the form of a wise being, what would that being teach me? This question taps the wellspring of wisdom within us all. All journeys are true, but not all are factual. In the laws of spirit, I present spiritual laws for life through a series of conversations and experiences with a fictional sage, a woman of extraordinary grace and understanding who teaches through vivid imagery from the natural world. Unlike my previous full-length adventures, this book more closely resembles a parable than a novel. The archetypal figure of the mountain sage gives these simple yet powerful truths their own visceral and emotional reality. As the sage guides me along the mountain paths, I invite my readers to travel with me and explore the most illuminating laws we are destined to master on the winding paths of life. These laws have expanded my perspectives and provided leverage to change the course of my life. I hope and trust they will do the same for you. Over the years, for health and enjoyment, I've often hiked into the wilderness near my home, up the narrow deer trails and down forested hillsides covered with oak, pine, and manzanita, wandering as impulse has taken me along the mountains leading to the coast. On one such occasion, some years ago, when my wife and daughters were away for a long weekend, I rose before dawn and set out without a plan except to climb at leisure and explore a new country. The mountains, no more than a few thousand feet high, still had enough rises and dips to lose sight of civilization, evoking a sense of mystery and wonder as I imagined myself 100 miles from anywhere. The rolling hills reflected the peaks and valleys of my own inner life. At the moment, I felt lost in a valley filled with shadows of doubt. My life had fallen into an orderly routine. So in this particular morning, I took with me into the hills an unspoken desire for excitement, for insight, for change. I was soon to discover the truth of that saying, "Be careful what you ask for, you might get it." On this morning, low clouds had drifted in from the coast to settle over the wilderness, and after I had hiked up some distance, I found myself in a fold between the hills, enveloped in a thick fog, so I could see no more than a few feet ahead. The air became cold and still, and I soon lost any sense of direction. Hearing a stream somewhere below, I kept it behind me, thinking I might climb up and out of this shrouded valley. I soon came to a plateau nestled beneath some ancient oaks, just above a steep drop-off. I had, quite by accident, approached the plateau from the only possible angle, a narrow path between a wall of boulders. As I climbed around one of the massive stones, the fog disappeared to reveal a tiny hut standing before me. I approached and tapped lightly on the door. To my surprise, a resonant voice rang out with unexpected warmth, as if I were a long-awaited guest. "Do come in, traveler, come in." And so, wandering off the beaten path of my life, I opened the door and found the sage sitting quietly, smiling up at me. For no reason I could discern, goosebumps appeared on my arms. She sat there with a feline grace, erect yet relaxed, balanced upon a cushion of leaves on the earthen floor. She was dressed in a green tunic. Maybe she thinks she's in Sherwood Forest, I thought. Her eyes held my attention, almond eyes, hazel-colored, illumined by rays of sunlight shining through a crack in the wall. Eyes set like jewels in a face of smooth olive skin, crowned by short brown hair that gave no clear sign of her age, race, or culture. She seemed to be surrounded by a bright field of energy, which I assumed was a trick of the light. I began to feel oddly disoriented. I lost my bearings in time as well as space. Was this a primeval rainforest, a hillside in Shakespeare's England, the Scottish Highlands, or a mountain abode of the Chinese immortals? "A long time since I've had a visitor," she said. "I'm glad you have come, for I have much to share, and I need your assistance in a mission of great importance." Was she lost? Did she need a guide? Puzzled but intrigued, I only said, That sounds interesting. I believe you'll find it so, she replied. But first, you'll need some training to prepare you. Prepare me? If this is going to take more than a couple of hours, I'm not sure I have the time. You have both less and more time than you imagine, she said. A strange response. Judging her odd but harmless, I decided to play along and see where this led. She gestured for me to sit down. Make yourself comfortable, traveler. I know why you have come and that you have journeyed far. I was about to tell her that we were only an hour's hike from my home. Then I sensed she was referring not to my morning's walk, but to the long and winding path of my life. Abruptly, my mind was flooded with countless images, impressions of many different times and cultures. I had a strange sense that they were somehow connected with her. Then doubt entered my mind. Surely, I thought, she's just a reclusive woman, and I'm weaving an adventure where there is none. Who are you? I asked. A reflection in a quiet pond, she said. A ray of moonlight on a dark night, as young as the morning dew and as old as the earth. All things are in me, and I am in all things. Beyond that, traveler, I cannot say, for my life is as mysterious as yours. The only difference between us is that I live in the embrace of a spirit to which you are just awakening. Speechless at first, I finally asked, What should I call you? Do you have a name? A name? She looked genuinely surprised. I've had so many names, I hardly remember. Well, what do you call yourself? I hardly ever call myself, she replied with a smile, and that was that. Well, where do you come from? I venture forth from the past and the future. I live in the eternal present. We've lost and found one another time and time again. I've worked with you in an old gas station and walked with you through the Hawaiian rainforest. I've lived in great cities. I've sat in high courts under arched domes lined with silver and gold. I've known the comforts of hearth and home and the solitude of the mountain monastery. I've labored in dusty fields, known the risk and riches of high enterprise, and felt the cold lash of poverty. I've walked beneath jeweled canopies of stars, through shadows cast by moonlight. I've traveled the seas, won and lost fortunes, known health and illness, pleasure and pain. And I have found treasures that would dazzle your eyes, luminescent silks, opals as large as fists, and sparkling gems of every color. But I would share with you the greatest treasure of all, a gift that grows in the giving and never loses its luster. As she continued, her voice was the voice of all people, shifting like the wind, blowing through dusty hallways of history and places of radiant light. Magic is alive in the world, traveler. I intend to share with you the secrets of alchemy. You mean like turning lead into gold? I asked. She smiled. Playing with minerals is a mere chemist's trick. The alchemy of which I speak can transmute the baser elements of your life, the fears, confusion, concerns, and difficulties you encounter, into the gold of freedom and clarity, serenity and joy. The laws of spirit are the secrets I would share. You refer to spirit. Do you believe in God? Do you have a religion? I asked. She smiled again. You don't have to believe in the sun to delight in the warmth of the morning light. It is simply obvious. That is how I know God. And as to my religion, she continued, gazing into the distance as if remembering times past, I've sat in the shining temples of the Israelites and under the glorious spires of the mosques of Islam. I've knelt in the great cathedrals and bathed in the light of Christendom. I've sat in the sweat lodges and passed the pipe, lived as a shaman on the African plains, meditated in Buddhist temples, and inhaled the sweet aroma of incense on the banks of the Ganges. And everywhere I found the same spirit in all religions, a divine will that transcends time, belief, and culture, revealing the universal laws that are the treasure of God. Can you say more about these laws? I asked. I intend to, she answered. For within the mystery of life, the universe operates according to laws as real as the law of gravity. Woven into the fabric of existence, reflecting the primal intelligence of the universe, These laws of spirit direct the mechanics of the universe, the movements of flowers reaching toward the sun and waves.